Good evening. I'm Latanzia Jackson, and I'm one of the co-chairs of the Coalition for Black Student Achievement. And the purpose of this meeting tonight is to get the input from the community of what type of superintendent you would like to see that comes into office. We will be jotting down all of the characteristics that you provide to us and eventually presenting that as we go across. We're also going to do some other community input meetings in Delray, putting those together, finding out what's similar, what's different, and then presenting that as well to the board, the school district board. So please feel free to just spat out your opinions and what you think. And also we will have Dr. Robinson that will come up. She is our District 7 school board member, and she is going to actually outline for you the role of the superintendent so that this way you can kind of put your suggestions into perspective according to their role and what they do. So at this time, I'd like to introduce none other than Dr. Deborah Robinson, our District 7 school board member.
Thank you. Good evening. Okay, we are recording this, and the request is that everybody try to come over in the middle area. And when you make your comments, we're going to ask you to come up to the microphone so that we make sure it's picked up. This video, as well as the notes and videos from the future input meetings, will be provided to all of the school board members as well as the search firm that the district has hired to conduct the superintendent search. So we just want to make sure that we record you and that your input gets into the hands of people and to the minds of the people who are making the decision. Chuck, you trying to hide, but come up here. You know, okay, I won't say that. So, it's like here we are again, right? Did anybody here participate in the Coalition for Black Student Achievement Superintendent Search rubric process a few years ago? No? Okay. So we're going to have to just explain that process to you a bit too. But so let me tell you. Okay, so I'm Dr. Robinson, school board member representing District 7. Very happy to see you. This actually, I've been on the board 14 years. Selecting the superintendent, I think, is the single most important decision that a school board member makes. A lot of people mix up the roles and responsibilities of the school board members versus the superintendent. Sometimes school board members do that, but what the roles really are, the school board, the 7 of us as a collective act. We're not supposed to act individually. We don't make decisions or direct as individuals. But the school board is responsible for primarily 3 things: the budget, the policies, and our 3 employees. The 3 employees of the school board are the superintendent, the general counsel, and the inspector general, right? Most of the things that people think school board members do, most of those things actually are, by statute, the role of the superintendent. The hiring and the firing, right? The programs, the shifting around of things. Even though the board approves the hiring of many staff members, but it's a recommendation that comes to us from the superintendent, and statute gives the superintendent that authority. So technically, we're only supposed to vote against a hiring recommendation if the person is not qualified for the job or if they've committed one of the so-called 7 deadly sins. But it's not just because we don't like them or we think somebody else is better. So really, the power there is in the hands of the superintendent. The superintendent runs the district on a day-to-day basis, right? I mean, you know, the 7 of us collectively direct the superintendent, but it's the superintendent who is directing the area superintendents and directing the principals, right? It's the superintendent's staff that makes the recommendations to the board on the curriculum and the allocation of resources. Now, yes, we vote on the budget, and we might disagree, and we might, as a collective, vote to change things. But the power, I'm just telling you, the single most powerful person is the superintendent, right? So, you know, the superintendent sets the stage, they create the culture. Now, the board, we think we do. I'm just saying, we think we do, and to some extent we do. But if we have the right superintendent, it doesn't matter who's on the board, okay? Children will learn. The system will move forward, right? You can have a great board and have the wrong superintendent, and you will just spin into chaos, okay? So I'm just saying, this is such a critically important process. The board, we've, most of us, I think 5 of the 7 of us were on the board with the last superintendent selection. And we could talk about that process more later. But so we got a little experience under our belt. I think this is my 3rd superintendent search, right? So, you know, you learn things all the time, right? So I think I know, but I need to know what you know. Because each of you has had different experiences and know things that I don't know and that the other board members don't know. And that's why we're here, right? Okay, so having said all that, any questions about that part? Okay, so because we forgot to print the agenda, I'm looking at my phone. Okay. Okay, so let me ask this. How many teachers here? Yay. Okay. How many teachers not from Emily Grove here? Okay. All right. How many parents? Okay. All right. How many students? Okay. All right. What did I miss? I know I missed. Okay. Outside agitators, raise your hand. Okay. All right. Okay. Inside agitator. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's good. So now, let me just ask one broad question to get us started. Am I doing this? I'm doing this part, right? Okay. So one broad question. Do we need to change course, or do we need to move forward on the same path faster? Or do we just need to be in cruise control? So, okay. How many people think we're on the right path at the right speed? As far as a school district, just generally speaking, overall, the overall thing. Because when you come to the mic, you're going to speak to your details, okay? So I'm just trying to warm us up, right? In case everybody didn't come with their stuff warmed right now. Okay, so everybody thinks that we need to do something differently, I think. Okay, so do we need to move forward on the same path at a faster rate? Okay.
A different path at a faster rate.
Okay, no, that's the next question, see? Same path, faster rate. Anybody? So everybody thinks we need to get on a different road. All right. So when you come to the microphone, I need you to be clear. I think about what road we need to get on, right? And what are the characteristics, the experiences? How am I going to know when I'm looking at that resume and when I'm interviewing that candidate that that person has the ability to put us on the road you're describing? That's what we're here for. Okay? Any questions? What do I think I'm skipping something? Am I skipping something? Okay. Now it says community speaks. Come up to the microphone.
Good afternoon, everybody. My first question is, why was Inlet Grove not on the agenda on the Palm Beach County website? It is not on the agenda. The closest is Palm Beach Story. That's probably why you don't.
The reason, since she agitated, because this is a community input forum sponsored by the Coalition for Black Student Achievement, along with Riviera Beach Education Advisory Board. Raise your hand, Roseanne. Hey, come on. Okay. And Inlet Grove Community High School. This is not a community input session that has been organized by the search firm and the school district. Look, don't have me saying that on the tape.
Okay, I apologize. We'll go to question 2. I work with ESC kids and pre-K. Your superintendent, you don't seem to go under K. You need to deal with pre-K, ESC and pre-K. You begin educating at pre-K level. You start computers at pre-K level. Academics at pre-K level. But you have never asked a superintendent what is his qualification or how he feel about pre-K. The county get money, the school board get money from the state for VPK, ESC, and pre-K. If we're going to deal with our state money, we need to deal with our superintendent with that also. You need to start saying pre-K to 12. Everything say 12, K to 12, and that's my issue.
So shall I write down that we need a superintendent that values early childhood education for all?
For all. The state goes there, why not the county?
I'll answer that on record too. But we do, I mean, we are expanding into pre-K. We get it. We know that that's valuable, right? Okay, I'll leave it there, period. Okay, the rest, Come on, who's next? I'm gonna start walking up to people then. Okay, come on.
Well, the one question I have is I'd like the new superintendent to answer before you hire him. Would he support on the special tax assessments sharing the capital budgets with the charter schools in the county on a prorated basis?
Okay. Thank you. I'm assuming you want the answer to be yes for them to get points, right?
We'd like to know.
Okay. Here we come. It's the fire.
It would be nice tonight. I would like to, for you all to find out from the superintendent his feeling or her feeling on charter schools. That all students are our students and not segregate charter school versus traditional school. And I would like for the superintendent to be open for communication with charter schools as well. Also with the parents of charter school as well. So the same treatment that they give the district, I would like that for the charter schools.
That we want the next superintendent to have a, okay, let me stop. I'm gonna get rid of some wordsmith and stuff. Okay, what I wrote was open the communication with charter schools and the parents of charter schools. Okay. Anybody else? I know you can get say something. Okay, my city commission, come on, I know you got something. Sit in the front row, you elected, you can call on. All right.
Well, I want to echo the idea of pre-K and the importance of it because there are Title I schools in our area that don't have pre-K. And it seems to me that that should be given. And if you have a Title I school, you have to have pre-K, and you have to have it at the school and open enough and have enough classes to support the needs of the community. I know it's hard with budgets, and I've spoken to Senator Smith to ask him to put this as a bill to say, have it a funded mandate, that our school system has the money to do just that. So I think that that would be an important thing. And I echo that we need to find out whether or not they support early education. It seems like that's what everyone's talking about now. If you don't start the children early enough, then when they get to school, they're that far behind. And every year is catch up until finally they've fallen so far behind that sometimes they just can't make it. And if you don't know how to read, you know, when you're in 3rd and 4th grade, school is very dismal. I mean, there's no reason to go to school. So that's important. We need to find out too, their ideas about truancy, because right now there's really nothing much in place. Unless the school principal or their staff goes out and finds out why these children aren't going to school, we really should figure out what to do, how to make it so that we can go out and go to the homes and try to find out why the kids aren't coming. You know, Northmore is a D school, and some of the kids miss 100 days of school in a year. I think it was 100, might have been 50, but either way, it's just too much, way too much. So that's an important thing. And the idea of bridges, I mean, I just love bridges because it seems to involve the parents and teach the parents, you know, the importance of school and the importance of getting there on time and making sure that children show up. I think that when you're a parent, sometimes you're just, you know, you have a terrible schedule. You might be a single parent with 2 jobs. I mean, it can be really horrible. So, but they have to know that this is the important thing and this is what needs to be done for their kids. I know there's more stuff, but, you know, one thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that they're an equity person. They think about all the children. They have concern for all the children. If they've been a past superintendent, I think we need to make sure that what they've done in their area. If things have improved there, well, that gives them, you know, much more credence to come here. And we should look at how many teachers back them. You know, if we can look at that angle too, I think it'd be good. So.
Thank you. Thank you. That's Commissioner Moffitt from West Palm Beach. Roseanne, I'm calling on you since, you know, come on. Let's hear what the Riviera Beach Education Task Force says.
You had one of them up there already. You had 4. This is cruel and inhumane treatment. Force me to go forward.
Okay, no, just speak into the microphone.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. New superintendent, he or she needs to, we need to find out if the new superintendent has the ability to identify elephants in the room, and if the superintendent is willing to identify elephants in the room. For too long, we know the elephants. They know the elephants. But everybody sits around and like don't see the elephant, and I'm going to give an example. When you look at test scores, if there's always one group of kids who's at the bottom of the list of accomplishments, is this new superintendent going to acknowledge that, you know, I looked at this and there's always one group of kids is on the bottom. And either stand up and say, but listen, in my opinion, these children doing the best that they can, they just dumb like that, they can't do no better. Or will this superintendent be willing to attack? And that's just not the only effort, that's just one that's near and dear to my heart. Will this superintendent be willing to say, we've been doing things the way we've been doing, and this is what's been happening. And if we keep on doing it that way, this is what's going to continue to happen, but we're going to change this so that we can get better results. I don't care if all the kids on the same line, just as long as you pull up those who seem to somehow always find themselves on the bottom. So we need to know if the new superintendent is going to be willing to explore ways to change what is and has been and doesn't seem to be changing. Additionally, I believe that a new superintendent needs to demonstrate to the board, as you're considering that person, demonstrate to the board how they are going to accomplish more with what they have. You know, everybody, they say, you know, I'll do this and I'll do that. And then they come back later on and they say, well, you know, the state cut our funding. And this happened. And the ad valorem didn't give us what it had been giving us or whatever. And the new superintendent coming in, unfortunately for them, the hand has already been dealt. I kind of liken this to a hand of cards. The hand has already been dealt. You know what the state's giving you. You know what hopefully they have investigated the district and they know what the issues are. They know what the shortfalls are and all that good stuff. You know, what union issues and all that. So that shouldn't come back to you as, well, I was going to do this, but I only had this much. I was going to do this, but then they did that. New superintendent needs to demonstrate whether or not they can take what they have, be creative, look at best practices elsewhere, and be able to accomplish more in spite of not having enough. And I believe that as you all go through, you should have some scenarios to quiz them on that and let them tell you what they would do in a sticky situation where there's limited funds and union and all that good stuff. But we truly need someone who, you know, that overused term, think outside the box. A person needs to demonstrate to you or show you what they have in the past done just that. That's my 10 cents worth.
Thank you. I think that was at least a quarter. So, since you seem to be bashful, yet I know you have something to say, you can just tell me and I'll repeat it for the microphone. Will that work?
One of the things that was that forum that I went to down in the district, one of the things that seemed to help is they asked, you know, they have this little series of questions that they asked, and they got some great input. They asked what was from their perception, what was the strength of the current strength of the district? What did the district need to change most? Well, those were two things that you listed a lot of participants there.
Okay. All right. Yes. Oh, I was supposed to repeat. I'm sorry. So what she said was that in the forum today, the search firm, this was one of the focus groups, asked two questions. What were the current strengths of the district and what things would you want to change most? Okay.
And then I attend one of those meetings as well. But as Roseanne was saying, this superintendent, you know, he or she was able to think out of the box and be a good communicator.
Good communicator, think out of the box. Okay. Very good. More?
Testing.
Testing.
The new superintendent, we need to find out where he or she is on testing and what type of testing. Paper testing, computer testing, whatever level. Our kids are starting in 3rd grade on the computer. Half of them don't know what it is to do a test on a computer. And it's time, so they don't, the mechanism on that, where is that superintendent as far as testing and what type of testing he or she feel need to be done for our students.
Even though that's a state decision?
Even though that's a state decision.
Okay, so the comment for the record is that we need to know the superintendent's position on the use of tests
Right.
and whether or not computerized versus paper.
Right.
Okay. Did I miss a point? Okay. I got it?
You got it.
Okay, that's it.
I would like to see that the next superintendent have a clear vision of where they want to take the school district and an action plan of how they're going to accomplish that vision. And I want to echo what my principal, Dr. Banks, said, that the new superintendents should be able to unify the school district and treat charter school and traditional school the same, because we all have the same goal, which is educate our children. So,
I'm not sure that's true, but let me just restate before I forget you a second, because my brain is going someplace else. Okay, so the next superintendent should have a clear vision of where they want to go and an action plan to get there. And then you reiterating the comments about the need to embrace the charter schools as a member of the education community family, so to speak. Would that be accurate? Okay. So my comment is about charter schools unlike this one. Okay. The cookie cutter charter schools, they're not, it could be reasonably argued that they're not there to educate children.
I will say that there has to be an element of accountability of the effectiveness of the charter school. Absolutely. Otherwise, anybody can just open a charter school and, collect money. But we want the new superintendent to find those schools who are effective and support them and give them the same benefits that all the traditional schools have.
Okay. So, just to restate, the new superintendent should be able to evaluate the charter schools, find out who's effective, and give them the same benefits that the so-called regular schools have. Is that, did I say?
I think that would be fair.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm accurately reflecting what you're saying. That's why I'm stating it back, so I don't mess it up. Hang on, I got a hand back here. Hazel.
I'd like the superintendent to give their position on high school diplomas and whether they should be content as a school center and school district to be continually issuing certificates of completion, even though they let you now go to community school when that student can't do anything outside of the state if they wanted to go to college or something like that. Are they content with just counting that as graduation when you know it doesn't really give them the benefits of full graduation?
Okay, so just to try to restate, is will the superintendent candidate, are they content with students receiving certificates of completion as opposed to standard diplomas?
Right, and are they going to be holding the schools accountable and saying, I understand it can count as a graduation, but we want to see you continually decreasing your numbers of that type of certificate since it's really not worth anything.
I don't think they count anymore.
This still has.
No, you could graduate, but I think what we're looking at is standard diplomas now.
We are, but the statute is still there that allows it.
Okay.
And there are students who still get them. It depends
Absolutely.
on the guidance counselor.
I'm not confused about that part. I'm just talking about when we look at graduation rates. I do understand, because I look at that data so I'm blind. I do understand we're still issuing certificates of completion. But my understanding is they do not count in the graduation rate.
Right, but your goal should, if you're going to let them know it really means nothing.
Right, absolutely. No, absolutely. I need to restate. The certificates of completion essentially are meaningless pieces of paper. Right. And so the new superintendent should stress the goal to get to 0 certificates of completion and have each of those, because I don't want to increase dropout rates, so I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but to increase the number of standard diplomas and decrease certificates of completion to 0.
Yes.
Got it? Okay, hang on, he's in front of me. Maybe I'm warming up when I have to restate it all. Okay, go ahead. It's a test to see if I'm paying attention.
This reminded me of another thing which Fernando reminded me. I had my comment was to ask the superintendent candidate, is she going to support the ad valorem distribution to all of the children of the county instead of...
That's why the way you want to state it?
No, that's why I want to say it again.
Right, okay.
To distribute it across all the children of the county instead of excluding 17,000 children for the programs that these ad valorem taxes can support.
Okay,
And
so...
I made that point before your board, I believe, a number of other occasions.
Okay.
And also...
Can I restate it before you go on?
Well,
Yeah, but you changed the wording, so I just, because that's nicer, the way you said it, it's nicer to share the ad valorem tax money with all the students in the public schools of Palm Beach County. Okay.
which includes charter school students.
Yes.
Now 17,000, excluded from some of them. The other part of that portion is, the other side of it is, the accountability side is to extend to the charter schools the same criteria for evaluating their schools and not run on a double standard. So,
Okay, let me restate it, and I need you to explain. So to extend to the charter school the same evaluative instrument?
when you evaluate a charter school, there are certain consequences to the evaluation that corrections can make. Those same evaluations for a district school, those corrections are...
So it's not the evaluation, it's the consequences?
Yes.
Okay, so that, and you talk about the accountability system?
Yes.
Okay, so then it's to make the potential consequences in the accountability system the same for charter schools as they are in the regular public schools?
Yes.
Okay. Dr. Banks? He got it? Okay.
Correct something.
Okay.
Let's say all public schools.
Yeah. Ma'am?
I think the next superintendent needs to focus on real professional development for teachers, to help them and empower them to teach our students on all levels how to be proficient in these new standards that are coming.
Okay.
Hands-on.
Okay, if you're going to keep going, you're going to come up here and say it in the microphone yourself. Come on. It's good.
That's good. Hands-on. That's all I want to say. Real practice.
So the next superintendent needs to prioritize professional staff development for the professional educators in the school district.
On these new standards.
Right, so that we leave no educator behind. I'm just saying. Okay, and focusing on the new standards.
Yes.
Right? Because the kids can't get it if the teachers don't get it, right?
And listen to I think it'd be important.
What'd you say?
Listen.
Who should listen to the teachers? The superintendent should listen to the teachers. Okay, how would you suggest that happens?
More than just like not reading, but here's what teachers want to say, even if it's just through a survey. This is not working for us, or this is.
Okay.
Somewhere where they feel free enough to talk about it without having repercussions coming back.
Okay, so wait. Okay, so the next superintendent must listen to the teachers directly, right? Get input directly from the teachers as opposed to receiving all teacher input through the union. That's what I'm hearing. Okay. And one of the ways...
For the hierarchy.
Okay, or the hierarchy. Okay. And one of the ways might be a survey, it might be forums, but it kind of sounds like you're looking for something that would be anonymous. Well, at least as an option.
Yeah, as an option.
Okay.
That they would feel open enough and free enough to say what they need to say.
Okay.
Without anything coming.
Okay, so the teachers are open enough and free enough to say what they need to say without fear of retribution. Okay. How many people completed the survey online about the superintendent search? Okay, if you haven't, please go on and complete it. Okay, because I think it's a good survey. So, and you reminded me of it with your comments. Whose hand was it? Dr. DuPont, was your hand?
Well, I kind of wanted to emphasize what she said, not to understand that when someone talks about
Okay, wait, so I gotta get that direct. We want somebody who knows the difference between rhetoric and reality.
And so what you want them to do to be candid, rather than clever with their conversation and dialogue.
Okay. Candid rather than clever with their conversation and dialogue.
Exactly, and recognize that the words in the mission statements must become deeds to meet the needs of all children.
She tested me now. Wait, hold it. And the words of the mission statement become deeds to meet the needs of all children.
And that would not happen without support of the community.
And that will not happen without support of the community.
And because otherwise, and they also need to know what the real targets are.
Say it again.
They need to know what the real targets are.
What the real targets are?
Not
What are the real targets, Dr. McDonald?
that, for example, graduation, the real target is 100%.
The graduation rate of 100% is the real
Exactly. For
target.
example, people think that's not possible.
I know, but you know, I can't order that to do my spaghetti.
We can't replicate what you said.
Look, okay, wait. Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. First of all, this is what I share with people. You know, they look at the fact, they say, wow, target 100%. Now, you think about a parent, and I've done many workshops in the community, and I have them, they got more than one child. I say, you know, they raise their hand. And I say, now, how many of your children graduated high school? All of them did, you know, different families. You know, they could show me. So it's the point being that that's a reality. And then if somebody think that probably we had that target, go back and read your mission statement. Your mission statement says we want all our children to work to reach their high potential. So that's what I'm saying. You need somebody who's truly going to be candid, not clever. And they really want those words to become a reality for our children. Because I think Thomas Edison said, vision without execution is hallucination. And so we don't want nobody to come in and hallucinating again. And regarding the teachers, they are absolutely right. When you look at these new standards, they truly need that support because the teachers can do it. You know, rather somebody come dumping something like new on you, if you give them the proper support, because of that math, now here I have a master's degree in mathematics. When I look at some of the 4th grade math, what they're doing, they're looking at process versus the product, you know, in terms of the outcome. And that's a whole new strategy, that's a whole new way of doing things. So we also want that person, don't be afraid to take a risk. You know, it's by taking risks that we truly learn how to be brave. So we want somebody, they're not afraid to stand up to say, here's where our children are, here's what we need to do to get them where we want them to be. And if somebody said, well, we don't want them 100%, well, I remember the joke about the old man who went before the judge. He committed a crime, he was 80 years old, and the judge sentenced him to 30 years in prison. And he said to the judge, he said, Judge, Your Honor, I'm 80 years old, I can't do 30 years. The judge said, just do what you can. And so that's what I would say to the new superintendent. You say, oh, we can't get them, just do what you can to get them 100%. And then we look at children's dropout rate, suspension rate, the target is 0%. And if you put that in your head, and I truly believe that someone working with the community and knowing that when we are working, we're ganging up, you know, we're teaming up for our children, we're not ganging up on them. And so it's going to take the community helping in terms of the support that the teachers need, and also with the parents, the people outside, all working together to create that environment so the children can thrive. And so I think that was all I wanted to say. And also that this person would have a quality as they require things, they also inspire people. So they know how to inspire as they require. But you know, you can require someone to do something, but you can do it in an inspirational manner. And I think that's it. To really know that those words in the mission statement, that's just not jargon, but you have to give it meaning, because otherwise it's just rhetoric. And we cannot be satisfied with when the state sets a low standard, that's the target. No, that is not the target. And that's what when we talk about excellence for our children. And like I said, we can do it but the community must be involved in it. That's it.
Thank you, Dr. DuPont. Y'all should applaud that. How many people here have been to a school board meeting in the past year? Okay. How many people will come if I call you and say, I need your backup? Because I'm here to tell you that that is so important. Like, we know the usual players, right? And when somebody new comes and says, speaks truth to power, and says you need to share that with all the children, we hear that. I know we might try to act like we don't, but I'm just telling you, we hear it. When the usual people come, when Chuck comes, it's like, okay, I'm just playing. But I'm just saying, because we know, you know, the people, the repeaters, we know what they're going to say, right? And we say, yep, okay, again. Right, send it again. We need to try to do it. But when it's new, I'm just telling you, it has an impact. Dr. DuPont used to tell me that we need to ask churches to rotate coming to the school board meetings. And I used to say, yeah, that's fine. That's fine if people come to the meeting, but what I really want them to do is make sure that they're working with their children at home and they're collaborating with the child's teacher and all that, right? And I do want that, and I still think that's more important to come to the school board meeting. But if you have any energy left, please come. Even if you don't want to say anything, just sit in the back and with a piece of paper, act like you're taking notes on what we're saying. We pay attention to that. I'm just here to tell you. You pay attention to that, Commissioner? Yeah. See, we pay attention. We don't know who you are, what you want. You taking notes, you pay attention. I forgot I was on tape. Okay. Okay. I should get myself back together. Yes, ma'am.
I think it's real important that, I think it's very important that the new superintendent realizes agrees with the importance of undoing racism, continues to bring that to Palm Beach County.
We think that it's important that the new superintendent brings undoing racism to the school system.
Bring undoing racism to the school system?
Continues to bring undoing racism to the school district.
Okay. Why is that important?
Well,
eyes light up.
it's just enlightening. I've taken it 3 times and I want to take it 60 more. So I think when people take that, they get a different slant on what racism is, how we can define things.
Okay.
Now we can change them.
And that's true, and I think it speaks to the elephant in the room that Ms. Brown was talking about. Who else has something to say? I'm sorry, I'm being distracted because I don't want to fall over. Yes, sir.
I can never.
Let's see if this works.
Okay. Yeah, I can never keep my mouth shut. You started off this meeting by saying, and sort of narrowing down our focus as to whether we're going to move ahead in a very fast manner the same way or in a different way. And I think before we closed, we ought to sort of close that off. How many people want to change the direction and make it very clear that the new superintendent should have a new focus for Palm Beach County? Raise your hand if you think that you need to have a new focus. Okay, so I think that one of the questions should be, what are you going to bring to Palm Beach County that isn't here now?
Okay, but what's the new focus? Everybody raising their hand. Because the question I actually asked was about the path. I made an assumption about the goal, and I shouldn't assume, but I made an assumption about the goal. And so the question was really about the path, and if you thought we were on the right path, do we need to just shift gears and go faster, or are we on the wrong path? So now you've given me a new goal. So tell me what a different goal is.
Well, for me, it's really simple. The world's changing so quickly that we have to have a superintendent that can think on his feet and make quick adjustments and move quickly toward those things that are changing. Common Core could become Uncommon Core tomorrow. But in reality, we need a superintendent that can help us move in whatever direction that is. A lot of what we do as instructors here is to try to stay ahead of the power curve and be out in front. Would you agree, my fellow teachers?
Yes.
Okay. And I think we need a superintendent that's doing that. You know, if you talked about the teacher performance program, Marzano, has it been implemented across the district in a uniform and fast-moving manner?
Okay, I have a new question for you.
Uh-oh.
What has been implemented across the district in a uniform manner? Okay, I'm just asking the question. I mean, I'm just, because if you know something, I don't know.
I'm not trying to be negative.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But I think that needs to be happening. There needs to be leadership. And
okay.
Someone needs to be, you know, coming into this district that is pulling us forward.
Should it be more centralized? Should decision making be more centralized? So, you know, let me just end it there.
Leadership is a skill that the followers don't realize they're being controlled, and so, or manipulated. They have to have someone that moves them.
Sociopath. Okay, I'm
so that you know, you are moving as a unit because it's the right thing to do because of the leadership that's taken place.
okay.
And I've talked enough.
Not you? No, I was going to try to make you hold it and speak into the microphone. I agree that one of the words that I stressed in my one-on-one with the superintendent search firm was inspirational leadership. I agree with that wholeheartedly because, you know, when you're inspired, you can do things that you don't think you can do, and you're willing to try to do things that are hard, right? And we are in a very difficult place right now with all the changes, and the hurdle is taller than it was before, and you have to jump new ways and all kind of foolishness, right? And so I know a lot of the people who are doing what I call the real work are really discouraged now, right? And so we do need somebody who can inspire and can also, quite honestly, inspire the board to let them lead. So, yes, sir.
Yes, I just want to comment.
You got to hold the microphone up.
I just would like to say that I think that there's not just one path to achieve the goals of teaching the whole child and having them graduate and really realize their own best potential. There are many paths. All these children are not something that can be the term cookie cutter. The different approaches to education, the different teaching methods, I think are very important, and I think that across the board, trying to treat every child the same way will be unsuccessful because there are many ways to get that child to achieve his best, and it's not out of one book or one method or one way to do things. And so I think the superintendent has to realize and inspire other people to be diverse and differentiated in his approach to education.
I agree, and I hope that my question about centralizing the decision-making didn't suggest cookie cutter, because that wasn't it at all. But I think we have to, if we decide we're all going to Key West, then I might find I-95 the way, and somebody else might decide to go to Fort Myers and then head south. I mean, and that'll be fine. But the goal, I think the goals and the pathways have to be outlined. And I think I heard that earlier, right? So the question is just how much freedom, you just itching to say something, how much freedom there is to carve out your own pathway, Ms. Warrior.
Thank you. Talking about the pathways, okay. We are going to testing now that determines whether a child goes from one grade to another. All those pathways are the same. What will we do different so that child, some people can't take tests one way. There have to be several ways, but our district only has one way. Are there other ways that that child can achieve and still go on?
Okay, wait.
So we need to ask the superintendent, does he or she has any vision on how we can accomplish that task?
Okay. I think you're talking about alternative assessments and portfolios and so forth. So maybe then, I have to translate into school district language, right? So
You got 14 years, go ahead.
yeah, I know it. I got it down. So then we need a superintendent who understands that learning cannot be measured in a single way by a single test, and will promote and encourage the development and use of alternate assessments and portfolios that will be a better indicator of children's academic accomplishments. Woo! Was that it?
That sounds good.
That sounds good? Okay. You can tweak it if you want. Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Piggybacking on what she said, that while we acknowledge that there are some rules that allow the children to be retained at specific ages, and my concern is that third grade, that the superintendent make it a point to inform everybody that there are all sorts of alternatives that could be used before you have to get to a 1, 2, 3 times in the third grade, but they're not telling everybody that there are alternatives. So I'm not even saying, so be it, they don't do well on the test. There's a whole lot of other things that can take place, but the easiest is to retain. So instead of focusing on what's the easiest, educate the school people, educate the community, that there are other things and that the parents should know about it, the kids should know about it, and the focus should be on not what's easiest to retain, but how can we help them to attain what they need to so that they don't get left back. My name is Hazel Lucas. I'm the managing attorney of the West Palm and Belgrade offices of Florida Road Legal Services. Former school board attorney who handled education and employment.
I just want people watching the tape to know that, just saying, govern yourself accordingly. Then we're at the end of the level. So if I follow up on that, then I would want us to consider using the measure, using retention data as part of the evaluation of the school. Would that be fair? Okay, and not for purposes of punishment, but for purposes of figuring out where, as a district, we need to send help, right? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Cynthia Bethany. Good evening. Just have a couple of things. Dr. Robinson, I'd just like to ask, as a school board member, how much accountability is the school board taking in this effort?
Okay, restate that.
How much accountability. No, I'm not going, no, I'm not. I am a community person. I am not a teacher. I am out of the class. No. You have to take it the way I say it. No. You don't get to restate mine. Mine comes out the way it is. Your responsibility as a school board member, what is it in this search process? No, I'm finished. And your colleagues. And then whatever you answer, I'll come back to.
Okay, so I'll stand right here and answer. Thank you.
That's part one, and then when you answer that, I can ask you part two.
That's why all her children did well, okay? Because, oh Lord, Miss Becton. Okay, so what is our role? I just want to say this. I like this statement. We're the deciders. Okay? We're the deciders. So we have a search firm. You know, Ms. Becton, if you've been on time, you would have heard me discuss this. Anyway. Okay. Okay. So let me clean it up. I got to clean it up. Okay. So